And that's why prominent firearms attorney Bryan Ciyou just released his 2012 edition of Gun Laws by State. And our own John Popp talked with Bryan about his latest edition and a must-have for gun owners.
I'm speaking with Bryan Ciyou. He's an attorney and deals with Second Amendment firearms issues. He's also an author. Bryan has a book out now. It's about gun laws in all the states. And Bryan, welcome to NRA News. First of all, tell us, what's the official title of the book so people can find it?
The official title of the book is Gun Laws by State, and the website dedicated to it is gunlawbook.com.
And Bryan, previous to this interview, I had a copy of it. It's a very popular book. It got swept up. Somebody needed it worse than I did. So I did see the book. It's a great book. I've got some information here, but I wanted to get you on the program here on NRA News to talk about it. First of all, this is something you deal with every day, but why was it important to put this down in a book?
For me, the law is so obscure, particularly gun law, that my desire to make a difference in the world is to help lawful gun owners be able to understand the law, find it, access it, follow it, and if they don't like what they see, then change it. And the NRA certainly is aggressive about that.
Yeah, and getting out there, so many of these laws, for people who don't know, Bryan, all the action happens on the state level because of the way our Constitution is written, and many of the gun laws in many states, it's a patchwork of laws that can be very confusing and turn lawful gun owners into unknowing criminals. So I guess this helps to kind of at least get that straightened out, so people at least know what they're getting into.
That's exactly the point behind it, that it can be updated in real time and also help get movements behind bad laws that exist or obscure laws that no one's heard of that are urban myth until someone's actually arrested for it.
So give us, grab something, Bryan. Give us for instance of one of these kind of gun laws that just shows some of the diversity of all laws that are out there.
I mean, in local ordinances, which the NRA has probably done a tremendous service that no one else could do in state-based preemption, there are local ordinances that you simply can't find short of going to the place of the governmental entity and asking for a copy. And when you read them, when I finally tracked some of Indiana's down, they were patently unconstitutional and not supported by any law, and it took hours and hours to find those. And when I did, then I realized I was onto something that was bigger than I was, that I should write a book about and help lawful gun owners be aware of this patchwork of law so that they don't run across a small county or a small municipality that has a law that they couldn't find nor follow if they wanted to.
And Bryan, speaking with Bryan Ciyou, author of Gun Laws in the 50 states and all the states, and Bryan, you're an attorney. You walk in there, and you can handle this because that's your job. But imagine somebody going into their local municipality or county and going, "Can I see the code for the gun laws?" And having this book is a great resource because you just go to that state and look it up, and boom, and there's the information.
If it's out there, I've spent an army of people and time gathering every gun law ordinance, local, state, and federal, that could be found and hyperlinked it in the book so the official sites can be obtained and looked at and analyzed by the average person, and tried to tie it all together so it's meaningful.
So what has the reaction been to the book?
I think a lot of people are stunned by it. I've been invited to groups all over the country, and they've become involved in helping me keep the book updated in real time, and I think also probably become much more involved and aware of groups like the NRA that are out there on the front lines trying to fix some of these problems, because people in their own states don't realize there are owners' gun laws that they can inadvertently run afoul of that at a minimum will cause their gun to be confiscated, and it could well land them in jail or with a felony conviction for an innocent mistake, which certainly isn't the intent of the law as far as I'm concerned as a lawyer.
So Bryan, this goes beyond a helpful reference material. This really is a must-have book for folks who enjoy their Second Amendment freedoms anywhere around the country, and especially those who visit a lot of states. You got to have this book.
You really do, and I wrote it for myself. For the most part, that's my contribution that I can make in the Second Amendment in the states that have strong gun ownership rights, to help an educational awareness to let someone follow the law. And my suspicion is if they understand the law and are questioned by someone in authority and can actually point it out, it's less likely that they will run afoul of urban legend, and that was the point behind it. So it is a must-have, and it's written to my standard, which is it's the book I look at and rely on.
No, that's a good recommendation right there, Bryan. And Bryan, let's spend a couple minutes talking. You mentioned one thing, and I'm looking at the notes here. There's two things I want to talk about that really kind of help to show how complex the gun laws can be. We'll start with the municipalities. What do they do when the state does preemption? That's to fix all those confusing gun laws, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, in a lot of states, they've chosen to ignore the state directive that they are not to have local ordinances that are contrary, and some of those laws are still in the books, and I'm active in Indiana when those are pointed out in either writing letters or being involved in saying, hey, you can't do that, and that's at least a place to start.
So you have a state, then every municipality can, or state or city or something can throw in another wrinkle to that, and it's not supposed to supersede. It's supposed to be the state uber alles, but they don't do that.
There unfortunately are some counties that don't do that, or local branches of government, and it causes real issues. For instance, for FFL dealers, even if there's a facially invalid ordinance on the books, an FFL dealer is prohibited from selling or violating a facially invalid ordinance. So it's helped, I think, raise the awareness of just how complex all of this is and why we're all on the same side to try to stop any gun laws that are proposed, because gun laws simply don't work, and that's been proven with the decrease in crime since the 1970s. There's violent crime's gone down year after year after year, and gun ownership's gone up and up and up.
The other thing I want to talk about, Bryan, is let's look at when you have a permitting process or a carrying process, may issue versus shall issue. It really gets complex. I could ask five guys, how many states have may issue and how many have shall issue? And a lot of people just don't know what they mean. Explain a little bit of the differences with that.
Shall issue would indicate that there's an objective set of criteria that if a resident or non-resident meets those criteria, then the state shall issue the license. May issue leaves it discretionary, and New York City is a may issue kind of locality where you either need a political connection, a financial connection, or otherwise to keep and bear particularly a handgun. And then there are all the other states, for instance, parts of Nevada, that require a registration of any kind of firearm that could be easily concealed, and that confuses the average person. You could have a license to carry, the requirement to have a registration card for the firearm you're going to carry, and those are different issues, and people legitimately believe they follow the law by obtaining this or that license or permit and wind up becoming arrested and having their guns confiscated.
Wow, great information. Speaking with Bryan Ciyou, and he's the author of Gun Laws by State. He's also an attorney. He folks, lives, eats, and breathes this stuff, and it's all well prepared, presented, culled down in a book that has all the gun laws in it. Now, Bryan, how can folks get this book if they want to pick it up?
The best way, it's available in about every format that is out there, whether it's e-format or paper. Gunlawbook.com is the place to start, and it has all kinds of information about the book and what we're doing on that front.
And the version helps because if you're out in the field and you need, you're traveling, you can have it right on your phone. That's carry the book around all the time. So that's a good option as well. Bryan, great job. Thanks for being on NRA News. Keep us updated when anything happens, any developments with the book rolling out and things like that. And we'd love to chat with you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
On that note, that wraps up our show for today, but we'll look for you right back here on Monday, same place, same time for the daily news. From all of us, though, here at NRA News, have a great and a safe weekend, everybody. I'm Jenny Simone.